Now, with the best election coverage in America, here's Sean Hannity.
All right, thanks, Scott Shannon. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. Toll free. It's 800-941-SEAN. You want to be a part of the program on Twitter? It's at Sean Hannity. All right, so with the volatility in the polls, almost unprecedented in terms of what we have seen in any election year. Here to shed some light on it, our pollsters are back. John Zogby, Zogby International, and Scott Rasmussen of Rasmussen Polling. Guys, welcome back to the program.
Great. Hey, Sean.
Well, first, let's start with Michigan, because that's up next. And in the great state of Michigan, Rick Santorum had a big lead. It's now tightened in a number of the polls. There's talk about some type of operation, well, liberal version of Operation Chaos that Rush started and having Democrats vote in the Republican primary. So I don't know what impact that's going to have on everything. Let's start with Michigan. What's going on?
Well, right now, Michigan, we show Rick Santorum barely up by 4 points. If you talk, Sean, about the people who are absolutely certain they won't change their mind, it's dead even. And as you say, it's drifting a little bit in Romney's direction. This is an absolute must-win state for Governor Romney. If he loses, his campaign is going to be in serious trouble. Rick Santorum will have proven he's more than the flavor of the month.
What do you think, John?
Same sort of thing, but this is the one instance. You remember that the United Auto Workers and a few other unions actually were able to create some chaos and vote for McCain back in 2000 over George W. Bush. McCain won by a couple of points. This time, even a few Democratic-leaning voters, union-based voters, turning out and voting for Rick Santorum could put him over the edge. But right now, it's too close to call, just like Arizona.
Oh, it's amazing that it's this close to call. But look, we've seen this historically. Somebody wins Iowa, somebody wins New Hampshire. One of those two go on to South Carolina. They win, and they become the nominee. All bets are off. We've already made history here. And, you know, we heard from the beginning that it was Mitt Romney. Then, of course, he's had Rick Perry and Michelle Bachmann and Herman Cain and Newt Gingrich. And now it's Rick Santorum challenging him. Why so much volatility? Why?
I'll start with this. I mean, essentially, Republicans are fractured as the party, and they're not enamored with Mitt Romney. You know, some of it, a small part of it could be religion. Another part of it, you know, we've had wealthy people before, but I don't think that they know anybody quite like Mitt Romney in their lives, and there's no story that he tells that connects them. You know, we've had FDR and we've had JFK, you know, but they have leveling experiences in their lives. They had an ability to connect with a powerful story. There's no Mitt Romney story that connects with voters.
Oh, what do you think, Scott?
Well, John's right. It's about the reluctance of Republican primary voters to embrace Mitt Romney. That's why they keep looking for alternatives. I think part of it is attitude as much as policy or anything else, in that Republican primary voters, they're very unhappy, obviously, with President Obama, but they're not thrilled with the Republican politicians in Washington either. They're not thrilled with the Republican Congress, and they're afraid that Mitt Romney looks more like he belongs to the club. He wants to lead the club rather than shake it up, and Republican voters want to shake things up.
Yeah. Well, I think they want to shake things up, so I guess none of you can predict at this point what's going to happen. Is there any chance, as they head into Super Tuesday in the South and Georgia and Oklahoma and Tennessee and Alabama, that Newt Gingrich maybe gets some ground going again, if he, for example, if he had another good debate tonight?
There certainly is that possibility, but I don't know what kind of longevity it has. You know, one of the backstories in all of this is just how low voter turnout has been in the primaries and caucuses. That in itself is troublesome. There is strong disdain among likely Republican primary voters for Barack Obama, and yet they're not able to turn that into an intensity level that helps, that makes them go out to vote, or that helps them define the right candidate. As I said before, I think the party is severely fractured, and it's not just among three guys or among four guys. These are fundamental real problems within the party itself as to who it is and who should represent it.
Yeah, well,
go
ahead.
Sean, when you talk about Speaker Gingrich having another comeback, it is a difficult task, but in this year anything is possible. But he does something that every other Republican candidate on the stage should learn from. When they ask him questions that are off topic, he turns the question around and answers what he wants to talk about. Rick Santorum gets in trouble sometimes because he answers whatever question is asked of him rather than putting it back into a context that makes larger sense.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting. How important, if you look at, for example, South Carolina and Florida, debates were key in those races. So, all bets are off. There's a debate tonight, and all bets, I've got to believe, are going to be off after tonight's debate. I mean, just assuming if past precedence is any predictor of what's going to happen here.
I agree.
The debates, I agree, too. The debates are very important, and at the same time, we were just talking about how close both these states are, that it's not really going to take all that much to shift a few votes one way or the other.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing, and one shift of momentum, I mean, can carry right into, I guess, Michigan and then into Super Tuesday. Because it seems
one thing is clear, though, and that is that I'm not so sure that a win is still a win. I mean, if we're at a stage now where we're getting close to Super Tuesday, if Romney wins Michigan by a hair, let's say he wins both, Michigan and Arizona by a hair, there's still a considerable number of Republicans who aren't sold on Romney, which means things could turn again on Super Tuesday. The party should be getting something definitive, taking some sort of shape at this point in time.
Well, the interesting thing to me is Governor Romney, and we just interviewed him again today, and we've been spending a lot of time with him, and I keep asking him the question about the conservative base. Is there anything in your polling that suggests, Scott, that there's a message that would resonate for him that can convince some of the Tea Party members and conservatives in the party that he would govern as a conservative? It seems that he has to go out there and make that sale.
I agree with the last thing you said. He does have to go out and make that sale. The base, the Tea Party activists, the more conservative members, they're tired of hearing the word electability. They're tired of hearing, the Romney campaign has the most money and the best organization. They know all that. They know it will be a general election asset, but they really would like a reason to fall in love with this candidate. And he's not. I don't see, a simple solution to this. He is not connecting on a personal level, and that is something that is needed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in fairness, too, I mean, we've had some brutal primary battles that have gone forward over the years, and I think 2008 was actually pretty brutal. And then eventually somebody emerges.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
through this all, Sean, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but through this all, the race with President Obama is still neck and neck. It's still 3 or 4 points one way or the other. There's a new poll out today, with Romney actually leading by 3. According to Gallup, I have Obama up by 3. But whatever it is, it's still very competitive.
Well,
and I also think that this competition, regardless of what happens, regardless of what form it takes, over the next month or 6 weeks, the Republicans will get more comfortable with whoever their nominee is. And I believe the nominee is going to get much better at the debate process and campaigning. We saw that happen in 2008. Barack Obama was a much better candidate at the end of his struggle with Hillary Clinton than he was at the beginning. And so if it goes in that manner where the nominee has a good day next Tuesday, does well on Super Tuesday, and gradually moves on to consolidate the party, I think it will help in the long run against President Obama.
Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting to watch all of this. I'm not one that believes this is hurting the candidates. Do you see the eventual nominee getting hurt in any way?
I think the price of gas has a lot more to do with the general election than anything we're talking about in these primaries.
Yeah, and that could even be have a bigger play than we even think at this moment.
But I don't see the Republican going into the general election with the wind at his back. And if you want to hear more from me, I'm at Twitter at @John Zogby.
At John Zogby.
As opposed to just any John Zogby.
You mean there's other John Zogbys out there?
Maybe there are, but my handle is...
Yeah, I don't know if they did. Exactly. I don't think they'd admit to that, John. I mean, your buddy Scott is right about that.
He's not my buddy anymore.
Now, which one of you were closer in the 2008 election?
Me. No, Scott, I think, was.
Yeah, we had a good day in 2008.
Yeah, you kind of nailed it. All right. I got to run, guys. Appreciate the call. 800-941-SEAN is our number. You want to be a part of the program.